Story time about the time that I almost croaked from alcohol poisoning and why I don't drink anymore. Yeah. I already know you guys are gonna be like, you weren't old enough to drink, man. But okay, I live in upstate New York. What else is there to do besides be a menace? I don't really know what to tell you. No one was really worried if I was doing badass shit because people didn't really assume I was doing badass shit. But I was doing badass shit. So anyways, essentially it was around Halloween and I had just been dating this guy that was just like treating me like garbage. I was dating this guy who was also in love with my best friend and was like trying to get at her, and for some reason I decided like I need to get drunk tonight. I had finally broken up with him and I was like, yeah, tonight I'm getting drunk with all my friends, blah 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 blah, and it ended up being like 3 people and me, and yeah, in a garage at night in the cold. I don't even know. Ignore how this like doesn't match right now. It will in a little bit. Anyways, I ended up asking my friend to get me like a bottle of UV blue, which if you heard that word, you heard it right. Yep. If you hear the words UV blue, you know the story is going to end bad. And it does. UV blue was in theory for my friend, not for me. But I also had Bacardi for me. A big old bottle, baby. A big old bottle. Anyways, after my 110-pound self literally finished an entire bottle of Bacardi on an empty stomach, and I noticed the UV blue was still sitting there, and I thought, oh, I'm not drunk enough. Let me drink the UV blue. After the Bacardi was gone, I decided that I was depressed and that this was actually me deciding I wanted to like myself, which I wasn't actually feeling that way. Honestly, going into this, I was just sad. But after I was drunk, it was like full on episode. Anyways, I blacked out, and for some reason, my friends didn't notice me, I don't know, leave the garage and go on a walk by myself. Weird. And so I guess I ended up being upside down in my own puke inside my hoodie on the side of the road, and a childhood friend of mine drives past me. Luckily, this guy was like very trusted, very good friend, a little bit in love with me, which hi. To his dismay, when he passed by me, I'm like dead on the ground. He's like, ah! He picks me up, puts me in his car, and is trying to get me to come too, and then realizes like I am not gonna come too. Calls the police come, they basically call my mom and tell her that I'm not alive, essentially. She's scared, she thinks I'm dead. I'm not scared, I'm asleep. And a couple hours later, I wake up in a diaper, and I'm like, Mom, why am I in a diaper? Like crying my eyes out. She's like, Emily, because you're stupid and you were drinking and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, Mom, now is not the time, babe. Now is not the time. Basically, this experience taught me that I don't handle my liquor well. I don't know how to drink. And when I do get really drunk, I end up wanting to do things I don't actually want to do. Now, if I do drink, it's a very controlled amount. It's in a very controlled environment, and I'm not out here acting crazy. Like, for sure, when I drink, I'm like the life of the party. I'm super fun, but it does take a very swift turn at a certain point. And I just don't want to be on that turn, you know? So I never really experienced like a binge drinking problem during my early 20s. I feel like that's very common, and I feel very blessed that I learned my lesson very young. All of you are like, you were drinking too young. Good thing. Good thing. My body couldn't handle that nowadays. I would still be on that road, babe. I'd still be on that road. I'm grateful for every experience, even if it was terrible, because I feel like everything has taught me so much in life, and I feel like I'm so much better off because of it. So yeah, that's why I don't drink. Love you, bye.
Would I be the asshole if I filed another noise complaint about my neighbor's very loud toddler? I'm really torn about this. I, 33 female, work fully remote and am a bit of a homebody, so I'm usually in my apartment most of the time, either working or living my life as one does. Several months back, we had a family move in across the hall from us with a little girl around 2 or 3 years old. They moved in over the course of 2 weeknights, so lots of banging and shout talking in the halls between 10 to 12 at night. So not a good first impression for both myself and my roommate. Over the months they've been here, their little one has proven to be extremely vocal. While working, she will often scream bloody murder at the top of her lungs, loud enough that it feels like she's standing directly in my apartment. I've had people on calls with me while I'm wearing headphones ask who is screeching in the background, and I have to apologize and state that it's my neighbor's child. Even at night, I will hear her screaming all the way in my bedroom, which is the furthest room in my apartment from the front door. It's not so much I'm scared screaming, that would warrant a different call, or yay, I'm a toddler having fun screaming. It's more, I'm throwing a tantrum screaming, and there are some days where it's near constant. I'll be doing laundry on the bottom floor, we are on the top floor, and I can hear her all the way on the first floor just yelling and screaming clear as day. I have called and complained about them to our office. They also shout talk in the hallway to each other when they have visitors, and no carpet in the halls mean it echoes and is loud. And I know multiple other neighbors of mine, both on the same floor and downstairs, have called with complaints too. Yesterday I had called in with a bad migraine, and even in my room with the door closed, I could hear her going full air raid siren, even until 10 p.m. and that just made my blood boil. It doesn't even sound like her parents try to get her to calm down. I've spoken to my friends with kids about this, and they told me to just keep it moving because parenting is hard. I'm an aunt to 2 spectacular kids, so I get it, but I don't think I should have to deal with an out-of-control toddler who screams all day and night. My neighbors already have 2 violations for excessive noise, and I believe 1 more could get them evicted. While the noise is definitely an issue, they have been warned about multiple times by management. I should add that they don't speak English, or I would have talked to them myself, and interferes with both my work and downtime. I can't help but feel immensely guilty knowing I may get a little girl and her family evicted. But even as I write this post, she is banshee shrieking and has been on and off for close to half an hour.
Storytime about my weird cellmate. So a little background information. I was 17 years old and a junior in high school. Yes, I was 17 and I was being charged as an adult. So I was in with a bunch of women. Well, one night after dinner, my cellmates and I are watching true crime shows. Because that's what you do when you're in jail. Watch true crime and CSI and all that shit. Anyway, so we're watching our shows and we see a new girl come in. She's got her blanket packed and we're all being warm and welcoming. And immediately, all of us could sense that something was off with this chick. Immediately, she starts going off about how she has a problem with the TV show we're watching. She did not like the fact that we were watching crime shows. She was like, oh my gosh, you guys really need to turn this off like right now. Low-key thought I was gonna see her on there or some shit. But yeah, she was just being super paranoid and we're sitting there like, girl, we have 10 channels. 7 of them are going to be true crime and 2 of them are the news. Oh, and the other channel was black and white movies and nobody wanted to watch that shit. So then I asked her if she unalived someone, life for part 2. Part 2 about my weird cellmate. So like I said, I asked her if she unalived someone before, because only somebody who unalived somebody would be triggered over us watching true crime, but she completely ignores me. So the first night, something happened with this girl. It was low-key, very, very weird. Me and my other cellmates were like, this girl's weird as hell. Why is she here? And then the next day was the icing on the cake. So it was cleaning day and we're all cleaning our stuff. And this girl just starts cleaning the weirdest things, like the inside of trash cans and shit that didn't need to be cleaned. And then it started getting creepy. Not weird, creepy. She put a paper towel over the drains because the voices were too loud. And then she would walk around the pod talking about death and carnage. And if you don't know what carnage means, it pretty much just means unaliving a lot of people. So this was super bad vibes, obviously. Now, when you're in jail, of course people are going to ask what you're doing time for. And if you don't say, you're going to come off as sketchy. So we're asking this girl, hey, what are you in for? And she would not give us a straight answer. Well, while she was at a visit, we went through her things, like for part 3. Part 3 about my weird cellmate. So like I said, we asked her what she was in for and she didn't answer, so we found that weird as heck. So then she went for a visit and we searched through her stuff and found her paperwork. We found out that she was in because she attempted to unalive her husband, in which he got a restraining order. So at this point, we're like, this is weird as hell and she needs to go. Like, she gotta go. So now the entire pod comes together and every single one of us wrote a letter pleading the staff to get this crazy you-know-what out of our pod. We all folded them up into little paper kites and we sent them to the guards. We were ringing the doorbell like crazy and we told them what happened and no questions asked, she was gone.
Am I the for babysitting my friend's kid and refusing to leave when his girlfriend asked me to? While babysitting his son, his girlfriend came over and was surprised to see me. She asked what I was doing here and I told her I was here to watch his son. She got mad and asked if there was something between him and me. I denied, repeated that I'm only here to babysit and that's it. She said that since I knew he was in a relationship, I should have declined. She said that nobody accepts to look over somebody else's kid only to get paid. I said, yes, people who want to get paid do. She said that I was playing with her and that if I was respectful of their relationship, I would leave. I refused. I told her if she's so mad, then she could call her boyfriend and demand an explanation, but I was staying here to do what I was paid to do. But then I talked about it to my mom and sister, and they said that I should have left when she asked me to avoid any drama between them. But now I'm not really sure, and I just want to know, am I in the wrong? Am I the for not helping my son buy a home? I have a tradition that once my children turn 22, I help them buy a home by paying for part of it. I have 4 children. I helped the first 2 buy homes. However, I disowned my 3rd child when he was 20, so he didn't get anything. However, about a year ago, we started to fix our relationship and I think we are okay now. My 3rd child is having some financial problems and they might need to downgrade to a smaller home, and he has been very worried about this lately. He asked my help, but I told him I don't have any extra money to help. Well, my youngest turned 22 this year and of course I helped him buy a home. Now my 3rd is mad at me and thinks I should have given the money to him instead, since he didn't get any help at 22. I think he lost his chance when he was 22 and it won't be fair for my youngest to not get the same help. My 3rd and wife both think I'm in the wrong, but the rest of my kids are on my side. Am I the for wanting a week's vacation alone away from my partner and children. We've been together 12 years. My partner has 2 responsibilities in terms of the house. He walks the dogs in the morning and he goes to work full-time, 8 to 6. More often than not, he falls asleep at 8 p.m. We have 3 children, 7, 4, and 2. And I am fully responsible for their care as well as every household duty, laundry, cooking, cleaning. I am a stay-at-home mom, but I also am self-employed. So after I look after the children all day, I then work for a couple of hours on my laptop. My birthday is coming up. I asked my partner what he would think if I booked myself a vacation for a week on my birthday and went on my own. If he could use his PTO to take time off to look after and spend the week with our 3 children, taking them to school and taking care of the house. He told me I was selfish. It's selfish to want to go on holiday for a week for my birthday.